Okay, so I pulled up a stock photo of some credit cards. And the question we have to answer before we can get to our main topic this week is this money? You have to get through that. It's going to be a tough one. But I think if you think about it a bit, then maybe you can conclude. If I take out my credit card and I ask, is this money? The answer is no, it isn't. The credit card is a meaningless piece of plastic. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing I should add as an editorial note, this is the point in an in-person semester where I would take out my actual credit card and wave it around, but I know better than to do that on video, so I've just gone and found a stock photo. So the credit card isn't money, but why are you able to buy things with it? Well, the answer is because if you use your credit card to buy something, so if you hand it over to a merchant, and that wouldn't happen these days, if you tap the credit card machine or if you enter the number into a website, the credit card is mostly a token that ties you to an actual source of money, for example, your bank account. And then we should ask the question, have you ever actually physically seen your bank account? I mean, you might go to online banking and look at the balance, and if, depending on, students have it tough, maybe you sob a little bit, I don't know. But have you ever actually physically seen your bank account? What is a bank account? I mean, theoretically at least, or hundreds of years ago, you'd think the bank account is a place in a physical bank where your valuables are stored. What would these days be a safe deposit box. But obviously, there is no place you can go, a drawer full of cash that contains all of your money, hopefully, if you use the banking system. And it's worth considering, therefore, that you think of a bank account or a credit card or whatever, but at no point do you ever, in the course of everyday business, actually have to see or understand what a bank account is. You just use it. You use a credit card, you use a PIN number to be able to access your funds through some intermediary. You log onto your bank's website. You make a purchase at the grocery store. At no point do you ever actually interact directly with your bank account, with the alleged drawer full of bills that constitutes your bank account. Instead, all you use is a token, and you pass the token between people that are using your account. So your bank provides you with that token with your debit card or your credit card, and then you hand that token over to a merchant to make a purchase. You are just, in a sense, the messenger carrying around this token that represents your bank account. Okay, fair enough, Bill, but why is this relevant to C programming? Well, I've got a secondary example, which is, here's a C program that does something very strange. It's a multi-file program. It's got two files, strange main and strange library. And I'll show you up here at the top. We are including strangelibrary.h, but I'm not going to tell you anything about what it does. Instead, I want to stare at this piece of code and ask some questions about how much do you really need to know to be able to use this. So first, I've got this function called createProduct, and it returns a mysterious thing of type product star. Okay, what is that supposed to mean? Okay, bear with me. And then when I'm done, I call this function print product, and I hand it back over this strange product star thing. And then I print out product Q. And in fact, I'll even show you the function signatures for create product and print product. Here they are here. I've copied them in from the .h file. So create product creates a product with, and this is meant for like a database that stores inventory or something like that. Every product has a name and a price. So you pass in a string containing the product's name and a double that contains its price. And the create product function, which you don't know and you don't get to see how it works, it returns to you something of type product star, whatever that means. And then when you're done, I guess you have this pointer, it's sitting around, you can call the print product function to print it out. And you could imagine this library could have all sorts of other interesting functions, like, order product or something like that. Who cares? We only need these two to prove my point. So I'll try compiling this to prove that I'm allowed to get away with this weird type you've never seen before, and I'm going to claim that you don't need to see to be able to use these functions. So the function returns product star, and you store that in a variable. And then you hand that over to another function which prints out the product. At no point do you ever actually care what is on the other end of that pointer. You just care that you can take it from this function and then hand it over to this other function. And just to jot that down onto a quick diagram, so here's main. And inside of main, I've got this variable called p. And p is of type product star. And we call a function, and it gives us back, so on this line here, we're taking the return value of this function and storing it in p. And so that's a pointer. I mean, that's the point of P. It's product star. So what does P end up containing? Well, it's an arrow pointing off into the distance at something of type product. We don't even know where that thing even is. We just know that it's a pointer to something of type product. And the point of this whole video is I'm trying to convince you that you don't need to know what's at the other end of the arrow. All you need is the arrow itself. If you're given a library that works with this strange thing, product star, you've got a function that gives you a pointer to a product, and then another function that takes that pointer. You don't care what it really points to. Your only job is to be the messenger. You take this pointer from one function and hand it over to the other. As long as you don't modify it or touch anything, you don't actually need to know anything about what it really looks like at the other end. Certainly at the other end, we're storing, I don't know, the word raspberry and the value 10.6. We might think, we don't know of any way of doing that in C, but do we have to for this example? I don't think we do. Instead, this object of type product star isn't much different than a credit card. Your bank sends you your credit card. You can then use the credit card at the grocery store. And at no point do you have to understand truly what the credit card actually means. It's just a token. It's a way of conveying information between two intermediaries that do understand what to do with it. The bank understands how to give you a credit card. The grocery store understands how to charge it. You're just carrying it between point A and point B. And in our next topic, we're going to be working with a similarly opaque type. We're going to work with how to open files on disk. And that's going to require that we use functions that send us back these strange pointers that point at nothing in particular. And it's not a big deal because we never have to follow those pointers ourselves.